had to trap some of them. I mean, I'll kill them. I'm good at it. You use a rat trap with peanut butter. Gets them every time. They're too damn stupid. They don't learn. One, two, three of them. And then the last one maybe escapes crippled with its life and tells the others somehow, communicates, don't go there, don't go near that place. But, you do what you can to do because you've got to do because you can't live with them. And poisoning them is usually that's a worse option than the trap. But that's what I would recommend. But, God gave us the owls to go and eat up these filthy rodents. And we got the cats out there doing that job too sometimes. The hawks, the eagles, right? There's a lot of birds that eat these rodents. There's even snakes that eat them. And I imagine a dog, if it gets hungry enough, would eat a rodent. But, someday we're not going to need to have rats. We're not going to need to have mosquitoes. Even though these, an environmentalists might say these are an integral part of our ecosystem. And absolutely, the bats would starve to death without the mosquitoes and blah, blah, blah. But, a day is coming when we're going to see a change in all these things, okay? And it's up to the potter. It's not up to us as individuals to save the earth. This is God's job, to save when the earth has enough people on it. That's God's job. He owns a life force. So when the earth is populated his satisfaction, he simply pulls a life force. That's it. He's our creator. He owns us. He is the potter. This whole thing belongs to him. He's in control. And if you look at population in a logical way, you see, no, we're not at any kind of tipping point. We've been made to believe it. They've constructed the roads and the cities so that it was made it uninhabitable after a while. They know what they're doing. These people are so diabolical, the evil genius. We've got to get it through our heads. We've just absolutely got to understand that you cannot exaggerate. You cannot be hyperbolic enough about how evil, genius, cunning, and diabolical the people at the top are. And they've been doing this for a long, 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 long time. They've been beating away at us. And this is why they get away with it today. We're all pliable, malleable, soft, disempowered, confused, ignorant, scared. That's the state of affairs. That's humanity at large. We're pathetic. Okay, and we've got to stand up, say, look, I don't care, man. I'm going to speak out. I'm everybody I know. Whatever. You can kill me, you can hate me, but I don't hate anyone. I don't want to kill anyone. I don't even want to hurt anybody. I'm not even trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but I've got to do my job. That is fighting the good fight. Because I need to get this reward. I need to convince other people. They want to get that reward. They want salvation. They want to be found worthy and deserving of inheriting a better world. And this is what it's going to take. There's only two sides here, humanity or inhumanity, God or evil, good or bad, Satan or Jesus. That's it. Got to love one master and hate the other. Hate them, the thought, the gall, the nerve, the idea of challenging God's authority, sovereign. What a good God that just wanted us to be holy and divine and pure from the start. He was sorry when we committed this original sin, whatever it was bad, man. He wished he didn't even create us. Imagine that. Imagine that's the God we're talking about here, that has actually learned stuff from us, from his creatures. How could that be? But he can be whatever he wants. He can use us for his purposes. We're his vessels to use at will, especially if we give ourselves over to him. Okay, but even if we don't, he uses us as an example of what not to do. Don't be the foolish dark devil out there that is embracing the spirit thereof and doing dastardly deeds for money, for Satan, the power thereof, the things of this world, the temporal, carnal, worldly things. Okay, don't be any part of that. Like it says, expose the fruitless deeds of darkness, but have nothing to do with them. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, not against humanity. Remember, non-humanity. Make sure everybody knows you're on their side. Everybody. Okay, don't compromise. And then we see that this is a devilish scheme. It's against humanity because we are created in the image and likeness of God. We're hated. We're hated just for that fact alone, that we're awesome creatures. Fallen though we may be, with this knowledge of good and evil, this sinful, carnal state. fallen state that we're in. God decided he would not give up on us. He would redeem us. And he sent us the prophets and the saints. And he sent us Jesus to tell us this, to reaffirm this promise. And that is the promise. He will save us. He wants to save unto the uttermost. He wishes none to perish, but all to come to repentance. And doesn't delight in the destruction of the wicked. And that should be the spirit and mindset we embrace, the belief system. It's always about reaching up to him, being more like him, his character and nature. I don't like crony capitalism or communism, but I love crony capitalists and communists. It's the same sort of thing I'm talking about here. You hate the sin, the idea, but you love the sinner. You don't condemn them. Renting money versus owning money, you know? That's it. Big difference, right? The infinite heirs. They own the money, but make us pay the rent on the money. Isn't that what it's like with this cost of living and taxes? And it's just the problem just getting worse and worse, this regression, anti-progress we have, socially, economically speaking. Poverty being increased, the wealth and income disparity being increased, class warfare being increased, communist ideology being increased through crony capitalism. You see the plan? It all becomes glaringly clear. These people are deviants. They're evil deviants. Gosh, they're evil, man. And I do understand Alex's path. My stomach gets tied up in knots. Last week, during the whole 9-video series I did, I had a headache the whole time. It was something I ate or something, but I had a rough time. And before I even uploaded them, I had to take a nap. It's not happening today, but I still feel my stomach is tight. You know, I had to take a couple of charcoal. I take this activated charcoal because I get upset stomach sometimes. I recommend it to everybody. It's alkaline. There's nothing. It's inert, and there's no way that you can hurt yourself that I know. But read health warnings anyhow. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to give any medical advice. But it's alkaline, so it can lower the acidity in your stomach. It pulls toxins out of your system, impurities. And who doesn't have toxins and impurity? Even pus. We all got pus, right? Well, you know, it's good to take this. It kills back, you know, absorbs bad bacteria and stuff. The body uses it and likes it. So I recommend look into you taking activated charcoal and, of course, drinking lots of water. And I have far from a perfect diet. But there's certain things I believe in. Making sure you're getting enough vitamin C. You got to make sure, because your body will tell you, man, you will be sick if you're not getting enough vitamin C for sure. And all that stuff, Alex Jones, all that stuff he sells, I recommend any one of those products is probably very good. All these nutraceuticals he calls them, it's probably all really good stuff. I just, unfortunately, I can't afford to support him on that level. I would love to buy more of it. I know it's overpriced, but I would do it anyhow to support the show. You know, I support him very little, you know, as it is, but I do like to support the show financially, what little I can give, and whenever that is, but, you know, it's very little. It's a pittance compared to what the needs of the organization are. But if millions of people were given, you know, even $10 a month, you know, could help them out tremendously. If it was 1 million people given that, you know, it's $10 million a month. And, you know, but I know for now, we all need to make money, right? We all need, you know, for now. You know, my theory about economics is very clear. But we should see our cost of living go down, not up. This is progress. This is how you gauge it. This is the evidence for progress. Social economic progress can only be made when your currency is increasing in worth because your cost of living is declining due to progress, due to supply and demand, free market economic principles actually being allowed to work. This happens naturally. It's not forced. So understand, let me be very clear about where I stand on this stuff. And another thing, because I get a lot of supplements, and a lot of them just end up getting dated. I don't take them. This mineral, that mineral, and, you know, herbs and stuff like this. Well, I know a lot of this stuff can be very good. I really like from memory, I like the ginkgo biloba. When I've taken that in the past, I found it helped my memory. Alex has one, this brain force. I wouldn't mind trying because my brain can use all the help it can get. I believe in stuff like Dr. Joel Wallach talks about the importance of eggs in the health of our brain. I believe him, and fish and fats, other good fats. I believe in that. Cod liver oil, I believe in that. For respiratory issues, everybody heard me cough, but it's a loose cough. See, I had pneumonia as a child. I talked about being in a hospital in Ireland when I was 10 years old, 9, 10, right in that range. But it's because I had pneumonia. And, so I got these holes in my lungs, and so the phlegm is an issue for me. But I don't get sick that often. I never had my tonsils removed. I had tonsillitis as a child, but my dad didn't want them to take my tonsils out. He didn't believe in it. So I've never had any surgery to never remove my appendix. I still got 2 of my wisdom teeth, lower ones. I like that. But, even though I got into the blue pills, the fluoride pills as a child, the dentists were handing out like candy. And that's one of the things my dad, mom, I guess, believed in was this blue fluoride pills they got from the dentist. I guess it was sodium fluoride. Tasted like sugar to me, but they put it in our cereal, and I like to eat them plain, like candy. I was a little kid. I used to get into stuff like that. Anything that looked colorful like candy, I was a bad little boy. I had to have my stomach pumped once because I got into the St. Joseph's aspirin when I was 3 or 4 years old and OD'd on it. That was traumatic. So, I have not been the smartest child, you might say. But, I might have damaged my brain. But sometimes they say, when you get stressed out like that, another part of the brain kicks in. So I might be brain damaged in some ways, but I might be genius in other ways, So just, it's God's fail-safe built into the brain, like a default system he built in to compensate for any stress. Kind of like somebody that's had, brain surgery when they've had a tumor removed or something like that. It can actually help the other part to think better because you're using it more, trying harder, knowing that you're compromised and handicapped. So it kind of all makes sense. It's all kind of logical to think. But so of those pills, I don't take a lot of supplements, but those are a couple I think that, that I've talked about. The vitamin C, the cod liver oil. I like activated charcoal. And that's about it. I'm not telling anybody else they should take those things, but look into it. You don't want to OD on any vitamins. I think B complex is a good one too. It's not always easy to get enough B complex. And the vitamin D, I'm out in the sun a lot as a landscaper, so I'm getting lots of vitamin D. But if you think you're not getting enough vitamin D, it might be good to supplement it. Again, you don't want to make sure you're not taking too much. You got to educate yourself. You got to learn about these things. So all the vitamins are good. You get vitamin E from things like avocados and nuts and stuff and other things it's added to. But they're all important. The vitamin K from all the greens, very important. But make sure that you're getting plenty of all the stuff we need and in nature that we would be consuming. I myself probably don't get enough dark greens. So that's one of the things I could add. I've taken parsley tablets in the past to supplement it. My teeth aren't as good as they used to be, so I can't just chew a bunch of parsley, which is a good way to go. But you can do things like eat spinach and chard and broccoli. So there's other ways you can get your greens, your vitamin K that's not painful at all. It tastes delicious. And a lot of these things are high protein too, like spinach. It's a good way to go. But again, I would recommend any of the products from the InfoWars store, and since they're under attack, real or perceived, I recommend everybody support the organization. I like them. And if Alex could just tone it down a little and lay off the profanities a little bit, because he doesn't need it. He's such a powerful spirit, such a powerful man, a powerful essence. He's such a character. And I mean that, with all admiration and kindness, in a good way, a righteous dude, upright guy I stand behind. And I know, I've disagreed with him vehemently on some economic issues because I think, it dabbles into crony capitalism. But, I still understand everybody's temptation at least to abandon, the splitting of hairs and say, no, it's just capitalism, and I get it. But we've all got to understand that this whole capitalist thing should only be used temporarily as a means to an end to full prosperity, where we don't care about money anymore. We just want to see freedom. That's it. That's what we're really after. And that's going to be achieved through currency advancement, okay? The advance in the worth of the currency through a lowering of the cost of living. This is it. It's the opposite of debasing currency. That's it. That's the opposite trend we need to get on. That's the trajectory we need to be on to create this rising tide of prosperity. And if we can get a little bit, an appreciable amount of time under our belts of that lifestyle, we're not going to give it up. And like I said, it doesn't have to be through raises and cost of living adjustments. It's just through embracing true free market, supply and demand, capitalist principles and allowing nature to run its course because it'll happen naturally. It's a natural progression. That's what happens. That's what I want. And it is the light at the end of the tunnel. And the light at the end of the tunnel is a beautiful, beautiful thing. We can't even fathom because we're like Paul writes about. It's like looking through a mirror, dimly through a mirror. We can't really see it. The waters are so muddied and bloodied by these evil people. How good it can be, I can only guess. All I know is it's going